Namaskar. Hello and welcome to PGurus channel. I'm your host Sree Iyer. Joining me today is Lt Gen Ravi Shankar, and we're going to be talking about the various revolutions, springs, what have you. I think some in the West are naming what happened in Bangladesh as monsoon revolution. They don't know that in India we don't have revolutions, we have weddings. We have a monsoon wedding, but not a monsoon revolution. So good luck with trying to do the same to India. This is my 2 cents on it. Let's see what the general has to say about it. General Ravi Shankar, namaskar and welcome to PGurus channel. How are you, sir?
Namaskar and thanks a lot for inviting me over to the channel once again. It's monsoon time, monsoon revolutions, monsoon weddings, and what have you. All things, good things happen in monsoons, right?
Yes.
Though the Bangladeshis won't admit to it, they will not call it yeah. But on a serious note, since you've given the thing about revolutions, before we start, I just want to put across to everyone, that Bangladeshis don't talk of it as a color revolution. They talk of it as their second, liberation, and, people's revolution and a people's movement. But in every color revolution, you'll see as we go along that there are two sides to this whole story. There's an internal story and there's an external story. So I think Sriji will put across to people what the thing we feel, and then let's discuss, because I think in the heat of what's happened in Bangladesh, we have not discussed this whole issue in depth to understand the intricacies of the whole story.
Yes, indeed, sir. I'd like to have you start off with a slide deck. We'll go through that, and then after that we can maybe have some questions. Then we'll
talk. I think so. I think that's important. Because what's happened in Bangladesh can happen tomorrow and under conditions. What is the color revolution? Let me explain this. This a bit of a theoretical approach, but it underpins all color revolutions. It's a political term used to describe turbulent political events, mass street protests, and riots to achieve a revolutionary change of government. Some revolutionary upheavals were successful, and some have been attempts only. So, what are the famous ones? The popular color revolutions happened in mid 2000s, 2004, 5. The Orange Revolution in Ukraine, the Tulip Revolution in Kyrgyzstan, the Rose Revolution of Georgia, and the Cedar Revolution or the Green Revolution in Libya. Lebanon, sorry, this is Lebanon, not Libya, Lebanon, where governments were overthrown. And we'll talk of them. Then the Arab Spring, right? It started in Tunisia and it spread across the entire North Arabian coast, touched the Arabian Peninsula, the Saudi Arabian Peninsula, with varying results, right? Some remained autocracies with restricted democracies. Some turned into failed states. All this happened around 2010. It started with Tunisia. Some, of course, are non-Arab states, but it's okay. But what you say is a lot of turmoil, completely some democracy movements and all that. Okay. Now let me get to the thing. Fundamentally, conquering power by military means, attack and all is obsolete. Classic wars are expensive, and so color movements are subtle ways of conquering. And there's a democratic uprising, and then you remove an unskilled government or have a coup d'etat, and there, voila, you have a new government which is all yours, a new country which is under your thumb. And all sponsored by external powers who plan, organize, and implement these revolutions. The way these revolutions are implemented is not funny. And these color revolutions cannot happen without external forces. They're only in name. Revolutions are all in name. It's a sophisticated form of a coup or a regime change. And with no, without a doubt, USA has been the past master at it. Okay, this is something which we have to understand, and this has been written by all over the world, analyzed. Regime change is an important feature of US foreign policy. And it didn't start now, it started with the overthrow of the Syrian government in 1949. Since then, US has overthrown or attempted to overthrow over 50 governments across the world. Right? And US policy seeks regime change in hostile countries. The classic cases, Shah of Iran, Afghanistan, Venezuela, Panama. I mean, it's there. There's a long list of countries which had relatively politically stable systems or stable political systems. They went through color revolutions. There's a pattern. There's a pattern in how you gain political situation, control the political situation externally. There are conditions of political instability. Then pressure is exerted on the governments through blackmail, youth protest movements. And then there are differences between countries, where revolution, there's some differences. Some might have geopolitical problems, some social, some economic, some others. But they exhibit a similar pattern. That's the thing. It's organizing a protest, transforming that protest into a political crowd, using this newly formed popular mass against existing governments, and then topple it or use it for political coercion. The pattern is youth movement, revolutionary leaders, ideology comes in, rebellion against evil dictators, general call for democracy, imposing a popular or respected leader is imposed from outside. I mean, as I talk, don't you see certain equations coming in with Bangladesh? I'm sure you are, and you'll have questions about it. Okay. And political instability in the country creates crisis for the current authorities, always. And they can be created due to electoral fraud, poor economic conditions, dissatisfaction of certain groups such as farmers or artisans, school workers, medical personnel, etc. And interestingly, if the political situation is stable, destabilization must be created in an artificial way. This is a classic case. If you look at Egypt and Ukraine, this is the story which has happened. And then, of course, young dissidents can be created through student population, dissatisfaction of students. I mean, it could be many things: tuition fees, conditions in canteens, overcrowded dormitories, but anything. I mean, they could be as inane as this. Then students get to the street. That destabilizes the state, and then they incite rebellion in other layers of society. Very, very familiar pattern. Okay. In fact, let me tell you, most of these words are not mine. I've just picked them up. I thought let people get the real flavor of someone who's analyzed all this. And then spontaneous uprising can arise from social conflicts of different groups, protests, then rebellion, even non-democratic conditions like poverty, religion, ethnic differences. These are all part of the whole group, of the pattern. Then, I mean, look, differences between social groups really don't end up in revolution. Look at our country. We have so many different groups with so many different ideologies. It doesn't have a revolution. But when these differences are accelerated and it is facilitated, then the color revolution starts setting in. I mean, the author has said Libya was a country with many privileges for its population, yet it went through a color revolution. Egypt, where there were subsidies for bread that prevented hunger, but it went through a color revolution. Standard of living in Tunisia, the most democratic of all authoritarian countries, was close to southern France, almost a developed country. That was where the Arab Spring started. Okay. Syria implemented liberal reforms, but that didn't stop color revolution. So nothing is spontaneous in this whole story of color revolution. It's all planned. There's a plan behind the whole story. Okay. Look at the January revolution in Egypt in 2011. Euromaidan revolution in 2014. This author has outlined that they're so similar. Even the revolutionaries who were part of that behaved the same way. I mean, the revolutionaries in Egypt were moderate Islamists. And in Ukraine, they were radical nationalists, which resulted in Egypt, Hosni Mubarak going. Hosni Mubarak had a very stable government. Today, and the economic conditions of Egypt were good. Today, Egypt is in the dogs economically and politically unstable. And they're back to the army. Okay. Authoritarian setup. Ukraine, Viktor Yanukovych. Before that, things were stable, largely stable in Ukraine. You can look at Ukraine. Where is Ukraine now? It's a broken country with hardly anything left. Oh, is there a striking similarity to Bangladesh, which happened now in terms of its economy, in terms of its, the students' protests, X, Y, Z? I mean, you can think of it. There are stages, very clear stages. Create an underground movement and, form a network of those dissatisfied with the regime. Then members are recruited with big slogans and calls to action. Young disaffected suddenly leave anonymity and appear on stage. Okay, whoever heard of this students' movement in Bangladesh till a few months? They're not even a month, 2 months back. Okay, then protests, present themselves as spontaneous. Protests could be an outcome of irregularity in elections. So it happened in Serbia, Georgia, Ukraine, and Russia also. Now, those similar protests you see in Bangladesh. In 2010, it was a self-immolation of a seller, a street seller, which started the uprising. I mean, something catches fire. Yeah, in Bangladesh, the police were provoked to fire. There are a lot of deaths, all that. But the provocation is important. Where did this provocation come from? Okay, in Ukraine, it was delayed implementation of the association agreement with EU. That led to the Euromaidan 2013-14. And that led to everything which is happening today. And don't tell you, I'm not the one. If anyone feels, look, what I'm talking of is nonsense. All you have to do is hear John Mearsheimer. His videos have gone cross millions. And everyone calls him and asks him, he's a renowned political scientist. I've heard him talk of all this. Okay. Then you have protests, gathering, marches, setting up fences, all that. The interesting thing is people realize that the governments formed are illegal, but they call it illegitimate. And then there's an anti-government movement. And that anti-government movement becomes a driving force. In this entire story, there is never a case where a finger is pointed at the external force. Even in Bangladesh, you see, it was Sheikh Hasina who kept talking of external force. None of the students, none of those people who are now in chair have spoken of an external force. In fact, they've said it's Sheikh Hasina. Well, you see, it's debatable, but you see the striking resemblances in events. Stage 2, discredit defense, security, and law and order bodies through strikes, civil disobedience, riots, and sabotage. In Bangladesh case, if I correlate it, the police were discredited. Most of the people in universities, banks, and all discredited. Today, Yesterday I heard a whole lot of ambassadors have been sacked who have affiliation with the Awami League of the previous regime. Then of course protesters occupy city squares, streets. They don't leave till their demands are met, all that. And then they have an organized logistics network to back all this. I mean, you just think from 21st of July to 10 June, for 2 weeks, a lot of protests, a lot of spontaneity, but there's a lot of organization also. Who was it who told these student volunteers to come out and control the city traffic of Dhaka? How did it happen? They controlled the complete city traffic of Dhaka when the police were away. It's not simple. For an unorganized mass of students to control a city traffic. I'm just making a point. And this, incidentally, that the students were controlling the city traffic has come out in the BBC video by a chap called 𝗤𝙑𝙂𝗐𝘃. I know 𝗤𝙑𝙂. That's why I'm saying. He sent that to me. I saw it. I said, this is fantastic. This student force is behaving like an organized police. Okay, and they have a plan. Right? In the name of the masses, protesters give ultimatum to the student, threaten mass uprising if they're not satisfied. The government has two choices, left with two choices: retaliate with force or accept demands. That's the way. Stage 3, non-violent overthrow of the government. See, the way Sheikh Hasina was hustled into leaving Bangladesh. It was a hustle. I mean, one morning you get up and you're told by 12 o'clock you get out of this place, period. Open attack on authorities, occupation of government buildings, institutions, and other components or symbols of government. See, if I look at it, I do some backward integration. Did something similar happen in Sri Lanka? I mean, the conditions are the same. Kind of civil assault organism of the existing political order. If the government retaliates, then media accusation of crimes crops up. And that's happened. Whenever the government tried to retaliate, the media blew up the government, which is supposed to be conducting crimes. The provocation is no one is bothered. If it agrees to concessions, well and good, it will be swept away very quickly because protesters will not agree to compromises. And that's happened. I mean, these are actual things which have happened. What are the outcomes? I mean, one has to look at the outcomes. Pink revolution in Georgia, orange revolution in Ukraine, tulip revolution in Kyrgyzstan. They did not improve democracy or the state of freedom of human rights in that country. On the other hand, they went the other way. It's a moot point. Why have revolutions failed and did not achieve their purpose? Why? The rule of the law never took hold. Bangladesh is in the same condition today. No, governments that come to power through color revolutions have behaved with little regard for democratic standards, much like their undemocratic predecessors. They blame the previous predecessors for being undemocratic, but they behave even worse. Georgia, Ukraine, Kyrgyzstan. I mean, these are all classic cases where the outcomes were worse than the earlier situation. I mean, you look at Ukraine. Ukraine is a complete basket case. We all know it. Real goal, regime change. Then it is expected that the new authorities would be friendly towards the external force and under its protection. Classic case, Ukraine. In Egypt, they let go. Then the external force gains access to oil, gas, natural resources, and strategic areas or concessions. Strategic concessions are important. In this case, if you look at it, it's very clearly containment of China. If you look at US, if you look at China, it is get entry into Bangladesh. If the external force is China. Even whichever way we can argue. Then, of course, all this talk of democracy, human rights, and all go. Where will Bangladesh go? That's the million-dollar question. But beyond that, will it affect us? So I finished with what I had to say, and I think I put across with examples. We could discuss, Shriji. We can't hear you. You're muted.
Thank you, sir. And the first question that I have is that one noticed that there was a patrol of army and there was one guy singled out and one of the army just shot him dead. Is this a real instance? Is it verified, or is it somebody wearing the uniform of an army? Any idea, sir?
I really won't be able to answer what happened in Bangladesh, because a lot of misinformation has come out from there. Look, as much as things have happened on ground, a lot of media hype is in evidence there. So really one can't comment on the veracity of these isolated cases. But I'm looking at the broad pattern.
So the basic question, the reason I asked you this question is the tipping point. Typically, armies tend to be neutral. And if army is starting to take sides, then that is a danger sign for India. Because you need to do something about it. You can't rely on anyone to, put law and order there.
Yeah. Look, are you talking of this incident in Bangladesh or in India?
Bangladesh.
Look, Bangladesh, this could have been engineered. See, the way things have gone, I mean, everything is in gray zone there. Okay, you see the pattern. I mean, the way I look at it, that's why I said, I've got this analysis, but I had a look at how the Tulip Revolution went, how the Rose Revolution went, how the Orange Revolution went. That's the most macabre of the whole lot. And how the Arab Spring went. Look at Egypt, a classic case. So then you realize that, look, a lot of misinformation comes out. But when you look at the patterns, some logic emerges. And Bangladesh, again, like I said, you ask a Bangladeshi, I'm sure there is some Bangladeshi, in questions are there and he's watching. They're watching, they will watch. They will say, what is the nonsense? There's no color revolution. They'll say, this is all internal. This is Hasina as an evil lady and, the evil dictator. And she rigged all elections. And she rigged all elections with the help of India. This is the comments I get. Okay. And, our economy, whatever she did was useless. Okay. And now we're going to see some new liberation. But you go back into Bangladesh's own history. The outcomes of any such event, whether it was, after all, they've gone to 3-4 coups. Okay. And this was a thriving economy. And I thought Bangladesh last month had turned a corner. I mean, honestly, this is why I'm still talking of all this. And now you see what's happening in Bangladesh. Vice chancellors changed en masse. So you're out. Bankers changed en masse. I suppose sooner or later the police chaps also will get changed en masse. Then your diplomats changed en masse. So is it some kind of cleansing going on? And what's the guarantee that democracy will come back? If you don't keep Awami League in the fray in Bangladesh, is it real democracy? Is Awami League so weak? After all, this Awami League ruled this country for 15 years and brought prosperity to the nation. So if that is kept out of the equation, then this democracy is by Bangladesh National Party and Jamatis and others, whoever. Then are you looking at, then it'll be a condition like what happened in Pakistan, where the Pakistan authorities have kept PTI out of the equation. The difference is in Pakistan, PTI has been kept out of the equation. Imran Khan is in jail. Here, Awami League will it be kept out of the equation and Hasina never to be brought back? I mean, whether she goes back on her own, that's a different story. But you see the similarities. So will democracy be real democracy? Will their economy come back? And I see a lot of hostility to India, right? With the kind of hostility if they have to exhibit towards their neighbor, who was their benefactor to a large extent. Will it turn around? And then the implications, right? Then a whole lot of implications of this whole story. I'm now, in the first 2-3 days, we spoke of a lot of things. Now I'm sitting and analyzing all this. So where does Bangladesh go? And you see history. You see all those revolutions which have taken place. They have not brought happiness to the people. They've left the people at a worse place than what they started. So where does it leave Bangladesh? If that is the problem in Bangladesh, where does it leave us? That's the question.
General Ravi Shankar, I'm in Coimbatore, and this is where most of the textile stuff is happening.
Yeah.
And I got some feedback from the ground. So this is what is happening right now. Just about anyone who can leave Bangladesh that is associated with the garment industry, perhaps of Indian origin, has left. And it's taking a couple of days to get out. It's not easy. These are all not coming in news. They are all leaving.
Yeah.
They are, most of them, just packing their bags and coming. They say anything is better than here. But the story doesn't stop there, General Ravi Shankar. Many American expats who were living in Bangladesh for a few years or probably even decades, they are not only selling their high upscale homes. I don't know how much you know about Dhaka, sir. There is a cantonment zone which has got high-end luxury place. One place is called Gulshan. There are like 6 or 7. Think of it like enclaves, well guarded, very high-end, has its own self-contained, in the sense that you have mall, restaurants, everything inside, and the people also live there. So you don't need to go out of that. You can live like a first country, if you will. So these people are leaving, selling their properties there and leaving United States for United States. They're also selling their share options and investment in various companies. That to me is a dangerous sign. If somebody is not planning on living there, is okay, because they may be afraid that if there is an overrun of the revolutionaries, they might just destroy everything in the house. That I can understand. But when they take away their investment, that means they've changed their mind. So this could be good news for India. However, it's not all good news for India, in the sense India was also exporting a fair amount of semi-finished goods to Bangladesh. For example, in the garment industry, like, it's not just raw cotton. They were also exporting threads, various color threads. India's dyeing is second to none, and they were doing all that stuff. So essentially what it was India was supplying much of the raw material plus some semi-finished material. The garment, the labor that goes towards actually manufacturing the garment, that was lower in Bangladesh. That is the arbitrage level. So now, what I'm also hearing, sir, is 40 to 50%, and this number could be a little nebulous because we have to, wait and see. 40 to 50% of those people who are sourcing their garments from Bangladesh now are saying that, give us the same thing, maybe you can mark it up by 10%. So Tirupur and Coimbatore are seeing a bit of an upside there. So it's just a matter of now India trying to find its workforce. And once they do that, I also heard that Bihar is now thriving as a garments manufacturer. Again, arbitrage, lower cost of labor.
Yeah. I completely agree with you. In fact, let me add what you're saying. The input I've got also is the same. I mean that there's a flight of the garment people back to Tirupur and even into Bihar. That's one is complete. I didn't get this input about non-resident Bangladeshis leaving Dhaka. Possible, right? But one input which I've got is remittances have fallen. People are not prepared to put remittances back, and internal inward remittances in Bangladesh are a fair part of their economy. Okay. Now, if that happens, how does the economy recover? I mean, that's the question. The economy, look, the economy was thriving. At some point of time, 3 years back, people were saying the per capita income of a Bangladeshi is more than an Indian. And they were very proud about it. All of a sudden, they say it's all fake and they're out. And businesses are leaving, money is not coming in. What will be the result?
The
So I go with what you
the
say.
other question that now is coming up in people's minds is, army is now starting to protect all the Hindu shrines, temples, Hindu religious charity organizations and things like that. But that is not the entire story. Viewers, I hope you saw my new monologue I released in the morning today, showing you how the demographic changed for Bangladesh over the years, over the decades, in fact, and how some distortion took place in census also. So that gives you an idea of what exactly played out over 100 plus years. The topic today is that if you look at the distribution of Hindus, there are, I think, 46 districts or something like that, General Ravi Shankar. And I think they are distributed everywhere. Some places 14 to 15%, some places 4 to 8%. So it's like they are distributed even in small villages. There are instances where, like, there's only one family in the whole village that is Hindu. So to safeguard the lives of Hindus, it will have to be done by Bangladesh. It cannot be done by anybody else. Even a UN peacekeeping force is not going to help in this case because it's such a spread. So how do you think India is going to react? Let's say that, because still every night things are going wrong. They are publishing stories of burning houses and property being damaged. Many rich Hindus in Bangladesh are seeing their property go up in smoke. So what do you think India is thinking of doing? You said last time they are thinking of nothing, but it's only going to embolden these people. How do you think India is going to react
No,
now?
look, I think India has taken a few steps. Firstly, the first message from the Prime Minister is very clear about Hindus, and he spoke about this even during the recent Independence Day talk. This came up, right? It's not as if it's not there, and that's a serious message. Plus the fact that we've spoken to others, we've spoken to the UN system. Already, diplomatic moves are on, right? We could put pressure through external agencies. Now you could, uh, demonstrations were organized in New York and places outside, so those could help. You could use your business channels to help people, but you have to realize one thing. You can't physically enter Bangladesh. If under the UN Charter, you can't go and help them. Indian intervention is out of the question. So that's the first thing. The second thing is, no amount of force, the way Hindus are distributed all over, no amount of force you put will help them. In fact, any Indian force which is put only infuriate the situation and will make the situation even worse. So we don't want to get caught. You have to use social means, you have to use diplomatic means, you have to use international means, you have to use business linkages, cultural linkages, what have you, and do it. And you have to put pressure. And of course, in an extreme case, you might have to put economic pressure. And we have a lot of economic. After all, this country is surrounded 4,000 kilometers by India. So you have methods. And you could even appoint a special interlocutor who can go there and say, look, we want to do this. Either you do the needful for us, or we'll want to engage with you on this particular topic. Who will come and ask you? So there are methods. Have we gone to that level? Not yet. Is there a requirement to go in the future? It depends on how the situation goes out. But to some extent, granted to the Bangladeshi government, whether they are doing it under duress or otherwise, they are making an effort to contain the situation, right? But is that situation good enough or not? We don't know. Okay, and you have to understand one thing internationally, that these Hindus are Bangladeshi citizens. There's only that much limit which you can go to. Okay, and that's how it is. Yeah, you could talk of, what about Citizenship Amendment Act, allow migration from there and all that. That has many questions. I mean, it's not so easy. Because the moment that is allowed, there'll be problems in Assam, there'll be problems in Bengal itself, there'll be different problems in Tripura and Meghalaya. So that will create a different set of problems. You can't blanket say, you please come in, right? And that is not the answer. This is not going to be an easy affair. There are going to be a lot of sob stories coming out, and more sob stories probably and not that many success stories. But the hope is that it will turn around. That's why I said, look, color revolutions are not happy. And they're not going to be happy for them also. Leave alone the minorities.
General Ravi Shankar, this garment industry move, it actually is a one-way thing in the sense that much of the raw material was, like I said, it's an arbitrage thing. If India can successfully get it into Bihar, where the labor wages are low, and also have a way to get some low labor people workforce into Tirupur, India can easily ride this. It is going to be a little bit of an impact on India, but not as much as probably what it's going to do to Bangladesh. But I'm understanding that now the borders are sealed, meaning no trucks even going back and forth. Is this still true, sir?
Yeah, that I think would be true for some time. Till the situation improves in Bangladesh, for any free movement of anything, till the situation improves in Bangladesh, till such time the governments come to a modus vivendi of dealing with each other, I don't think there'll be any free trade or free movement of goods. At this point of time, I don't think there's any movement across at all. It's too premature.
General Ravi Shankar, how long do you think their supplies will last? No rice, no salt, no beef.
Let's see. I'll not make a guess at how long it will last. It might last a week, 10 days, 1 month, 2 months, 3 months. But at some point of time, it will start pinching them, and then we'll see. I mean, I don't want to second guess the situation at this point of time. It's an evolving situation. And, these situations will change as time goes by, as the government there starts grappling with the problems. After all, look, Hindus are the minority. The majority of the 197 million are still Bangladeshis. And those people have to be fed, they have to be clothed, they have to be sheltered. How much can that happen now? Anybody's question. But the government of the day has to start, facing that situation. Okay. And if they keep saying that this is an internal revolution, it's a people's revolution, it's a monsoon revolution, and all that, the Americans or anyone or the Chinese will say, okay, please sort yourself out. When you sort yourself out, we'll come to you. Where will they go? America is not going to give them food. Nor will Chinese give them food. Chinese want their submarine or submarine base. American want St. Martin Islands. And these chaps are friendly to them. We don't want anything from them. They want to be hostile to us. Can you think of something worse than the whole story? The Bangladeshis have a lot of introspection to do. I mean, why am I telling you this? I've also done this, my 4th or 5th talk on discussion on Bangladesh. I get a lot of things. I get things like, oh, if India wants to, have Bangladesh as its friend, this is what India has to do. I'll put it the other way around. If Bangladesh wants India as its friend, it has certain things to do. That is not spoken of. The normal thing is, okay, like I say, India has to take a call whether it wants to live with peace with 197 million Bangladeshis or be at loggerheads with them. That's my question to all my Indians. But there's an equal question which has to be asked of Bangladeshis. Does Bangladesh want to live at peace with 1.4 billion Indians or at loggerheads with them? That's a question which Bangladeshis have to answer. So that's a question internally they have to see. Right. If they have to live at peace with India, what do they have to do? Every Bangladeshi has to be, this has to be messaged across to them. Stop figuring Hindus. Start talking well with this thing. Stop talking of, we will sort out India. Stop painting India as if India did nothing for Bangladesh. Right? There are comments which coming, and these are comments which have come on my channel and at me. They said, look, India looted Bangladesh. What did we loot? I mean, this is something. In any case, what's there to loot? Right? So the mindset has to change there. Unless that mindset changes, all the best to them.
So if all this is not enough, there has been a notification issued by the government that if other countries who are buying electricity from us, if they are not paying their past bills, then you can feel free to cut off electricity. And I think this is aimed directly at Bangladesh, because the north and northeast of Bangladesh, they are getting their electricity also from India. So this is not good news. These students didn't think it through. First of all, students should be going to college to study, sir, my humble opinion. There is no business of students getting into politics. Yeah, you don't know. You are all emotional, and you are adults. You are emotional adults, and you can be keyed on by somebody, and then you just get acted, and you just jump up and down. Okay. Now the reality is sinking in. What are you going to do? You've also fired most of the chief justice and other judges. You're also you're forcing resignation of many Hindu employees in the government of Bangladesh. First of all, stop picking one community for what is a problem with your country. In fact, you are going to plunge into deaths. If India had not given the kind of help that it gave to Sheikh Hasina, you would not be enjoying whatever little prosperity that you have today. And now India is dead serious. They are not even willing to take Hindus right now. It's a sealed border, and it means a sealed border. So it's a problem for them. And I don't place much faith in Mr. Yunus. I think he has no administrative experience. And whatever record you can think of as his is left a lot to be desired. So this is where I'd like to live, sir. If you want to sum up, yeah, and then we can go to Q&A.
No, I go with you. Yunus, 84-year-old who doesn't know what Bangladesh is. He's just brought in from the top and parachuted into a situation. You think he'll control the situation? I doubt. And you see the role the army is playing. Okay, army is just quiet. The people say that, look, the behavior of the army will shape this country. At this point of time, the way the army is behaving, it has not given even one call to stop, atrocities against Hindus. They should have said,
Yes.
Look, stop this. At least they should have, but they have not. Their role as days go by doesn't seem to be very above board. This is the view I get, and I'm stating it. I hope a Bangladeshi officer sees this. Right? Anyway, like you rightly said, they will. And I'm sure that, as days go by, we'll discuss more on this. Because I maintain that Bangladesh is our most important neighbor. It's not China. It's not Pakistan. It is not Nepal. It is not Sri Lanka. It is Bangladesh. For the simple reason, Bangladesh borders Bengal, Assam, Meghalaya, and Tripura, and Mizoram. There are 5 states bordering. It affects us. And that belt has borders with China, Myanmar, and Bangladesh. And plus our connectivity. In fact, you'll add Bhutan and Nepal. That entire northeast has connectivity with so many international, neighbors. So that sensitivity, I think Bangladesh should understand. And if that sensitivity is not there, I don't know what sensitivity will come from us towards them. Right? That's what Bangladesh should think. If we cater for India's sensitivity, we will get back in sensitivity and from India and help from India, because I can rest assured every Bangladeshi is watching this. You will not get any help from China or from USA.
So USA is dumping them right
Oh,
now.
yes.
The way I see it.
Yeah, I
So
mean,
what
I leave
happens
it at
is,
that.
yeah. See, what happens is there's a yeah. Go ahead, sir.
No. You see, the color revolution is over. The color of the post-revolution phase is actually black. That's the point. That's the point that people should understand.
Let's take a few questions from our viewers now.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, sir. Cupid Cosmetics wants to know, to the good general, how long would it take to prepare fully like Sam and Indira did in 1971?
Look, it depends on what you want to do there and where. What do you want to do there and where? Depending on what your political objectives are, your preparation will vary. I mean, I hope you don't. Your question is not how long will it take to invade Bangladesh, but why do you want to invade Bangladesh? The political objective should be clear. Okay. Depending on the political objective, the preparation, you might be well prepared depending on the political objective.
Next one, please. Baba Yaga wants to know, according to Russian media, Sputnik, Sputnik is cautioning India that Andra Baptist Church, under American Baptist Church, may apply pressure on Chandrababu Naidu to switch sides. How serious is this threat?
At this point of time, I wouldn't make it a serious threat. But let's see how things go, how days go by.
Actually, Modi,
the stakes are too high for this.
Actually, Modi did a clever thing. It's not just Chandrababu Naidu. It's a combination of three parties that have come to power. Either of them need each other. Yeah. So if BJP is on one side, Pawan Kalyan is going to be casting vote. And I think he's going to stay with BJP. That's the problem for him. Because for Pawan to become chief minister, somebody needs to leave that seat, right? So why, you get the point.
No, I get it. I don't think will happen here.
Next one, please. Burqa 𝗣𝗚𝗍𝙠 Begum Kintu Bikini Wali Hoor. Thank you so much. Real Bangladesh Revolution and real Hindu killings. What is killings, sir?
Killing.
Oh, killings.
Killing.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Well,
that's his view.
True. Ananda Gopalan Kidambi wants to know, General Ravi Shankar, did any of the color revolutions help the country and its people to bring change for the better, improved safe living?
No, I explained to you. I explained to you with examples. In fact, all color revolutions have left that country with a bleak future. All across the board.
Next one, please.
In fact, in some cases, they've been destroyed. Yeah.
Maithili Aran wants to know, is India bound by any agreement to send Hasina back?
Yeah, you have an extradition treaty. There's no agreement. You have an extradition treaty of 2015, I think. But there are certain issues in this. Who will ask for this extradition? On what grounds? By whom? Is this a legal government? This is only a transitory government. What are the charges against Hasina? There are a lot of legal issues. What is the legal extradition procedure? Look, people have to understand. We've given Dalai Lama 75 years or 78 years. When? 56 it was? Yeah, 56. 56 to now. He's got a government in exile here. Okay? And that country is China. We've told two fingers to China. You think we can't handle Bangladesh? I mean, I think we can, and we will. Right? All agreements or everything are binding on us till such time they honor those commitments. Everything is two-way. It is not one way. Big Bangladesh asks and we have to comply. There are certain things which we ask, they have to comply, and then we'll see. Hard,
Next
real
one, please.
politics will now come into play.
Yes, yes. Next one, please. Viral Chawda wants to know, sir, do you have an email? I would like to send you an email regarding anti-India propaganda on TikTok.
On TikTok, what will you get if except anti-India propaganda? It's been banned here, isn't it? I mean, what is there to see on it?
Next question, Sumit Kochar wants to know, why don't India solve its chicken neck problem by creating a safe zone for Hindus in Rangpur division and administrate?
You know what you're suggesting? You're suggesting mass migration within Bangladesh. Who will accept it? Will the Hindus accept it? It's not so simple. I'll ask you to leave your house and go and settle another colony. Go and settle next street. You'll know the pain of it. You'll say, oh, no, this is my property. This is my grandfather's property. You know, this is here, that is there. Why should I leave? All that. I live well with my friends. All these things will come in. It's not so easy. These are all armchair solutions to say, oh, move people. Okay. You move people from one place, the same Hindus will go against you. These are all sensitive issues. They have to be handled with care.
Thank you so much, General Ravi Shankar. Viewers, please like, share, and subscribe to our channel. Don't forget to click on the bell button for notifications. Namaskar.
Namaskar.